Thank you all, and I will accept that applause on behalf of everybody who has worked tremendously hard on making this campaign such a huge success. And I need hardly say how inspiring all the accounts have been of our work all over the country in the United States, but also all over the world. And I think it's really exciting that Stefan spoke just before we are going to talk about this campaign and what follows here in Seattle, because this really, we need this context. We need to remember that this is not a parochial Northwest movement that we are trying to lead, but that this is in the context of the global system of capitalism, and we are we are trying to fight for the global working class. And our campaign here, to the extent that it has been successful, is it's a piece of that huge puzzle of the of global movements. And I think that we should keep our members who are waging this courageous battle in other countries against tremendous odds. I mean, I feel like I should before I go into this whole campaign in Seattle, I should mention that whenever we think that we're facing odds and it's hard and it's we're working so hard, please remember how the kind of obstacles that people who are fighting for the working class in Kazakhstan, in Sri Lanka, in Russia, the kind of odds they're facing. They're actually they're facing tremendous risks to their very lives, to their personal safety, and they're doing this just in the same spirit that activists who came before us did this, because this needs to be done. This has to be done because there is no other solution. As long as capitalism remains existing in this world, there will be this absolutely untold misery that will be unleashed on the billions of us. And if we want to put a stop to that, then we have to carry out this struggle and this fight. And I think this historic victory that we have just achieved here is probably a small grain in the sand of what we need to achieve going forward. And people have already talked about the numbers. I think the numbers should be mentioned once again and absorbed. It's 28.36 something right now. It's almost 30%. It's 16,872 votes. I think this is enormously significant in many ways. Yes, we should accept that not every person who voted for socialist alternative on the ballot agrees with us entirely on the questions of socialism, but what they do agree on is significant. And I think going forward, this is a point that we need to make. The left is very used to making, having discussions about what we disagree on. Now it's time to talk about what we agree on. We agree that capitalism is not working for the 99%. We agree that the burden of this enormous financial crisis, which was caused by those, the financial aristocrats, has been put on our shoulders. We agree that it is completely unjust. We agree that the banks have been bailed out. Jamie Dimon is living the life of a billionaire. We are facing foreclosures. We are facing 100% increase in our higher ed tuition. We are facing massive attacks on teacher unions, and so there is a lot of common ground that we can come together on and realize that the Arab Spring happened, the Wisconsin uprising of the public sector happened, the Occupy movement has happened. Let's wake up and realize that this is a completely new era that we are in, and if we don't seize this opportunity, we meaning the left does not seize this opportunity, then it will be a huge loss, not only for us in the Northwest or in the United States, but for the entire world. Because let us remember, while this is a global system of capitalism, the United States, the ruling class in the United States, is the seat of the power of global capitalism. This is the belly of the beast. And it is so incredibly important for us, for our forces on the left to organize here, for our forces of socialism to organize here, because the biggest challenge that can be presented to the U.S. capitalist class is from the U.S. working class. And we have tremendous work to do in that regard. just to go over some of the incredible things that have happened this week, it wasn't just this campaign. This campaign obviously has happened, in this atmosphere where a lot of the silence that has been, that has been stifling the working class has been broken. So it wasn't just an openly socialist campaign that got this historic vote in the 43rd district. But if you look all over the country, overall, the progressive voice has won. Yes, we as socialists, we do not think either the Democratic or the Republican Party offers any solution. But let's be clear: the defeat of Romney is a positive thing. We have to use that as a strong point to build on that, and to realize that the fact that Romney was defeated has empowered ordinary working people and the youth, women, and especially the Latino community, which came out in record numbers to vote and defeat the right. And I think this is very significant. Let's not underestimate what a Romney presidency would have meant. At least, I mean, it's a different question what they would have actually managed to achieve, because what a president can do depends on what we let them do. So ultimately, the question comes back to us: what are we willing to do to organize? But what was on the table? What was on the table was the abolition of FEMA. Imagine that in the context of Hurricane Sandy that has just happened. It was, what was on the table was the abolition of the Department of Education. Does that make any sense to anyone? More blatant attacks on teacher unions. That was on the cards, and we have averted that. However, we also have to be clear that an Obama presidency for another 4 years is very unlikely to offer any solutions. As Ty mentioned, there's this, there are people, thinking that, okay, now finally Obama will come out of his closet and, declare himself to be a socialist, and then carry out the program that was on our leaflet. But we know that's very unlikely to happen. I can bet you that if you're sitting in this room, you probably don't have faith in that idea. And the courageous struggle that the Chicago Teachers Union workers, carried out, it should be put back on the map, because they went against an extremely powerful Democratic Party establishment, Rahm Emanuel, who is, who was, I think it's fair to say that he waged a cutthroat battle against the teachers union, and they fought against that. That's what we need, and that is the reality of what a Democratic Party presidency is going to be. But just to go back to the positive aspect of what has happened this past week, progressive voices were heard in many ways. In Washington, referendum 74 was upheld, marriage equality was upheld. But that happened in all the other states on which, where marriage equality was on the ballot in one way or another. So that was Minnesota, Maine, and Maryland. That's right. Marijuana was legalized in Washington and Colorado. And I think, as you said, there was some direct action that night itself. I could minimum wage, initiatives. So I think that overall, it has, what has happened now, which is important for us as activists and socialists to recognize, is that the mood has completely changed, not only since Occupy, but since the results of this election, because people are feeling empowered. People are feeling empowered that a progressive agenda on the whole was upheld. And I just wanted to also mention quickly some of the more recent things that have happened with our campaign here. Given the really strong showing of our campaign, we've had media coverage that we didn't expect to see beyond our local media. So we've just had coverage from the Black Agenda Report by Glenn Ford. And we've been covered by the Huffington Post. So I think we can officially say we're in the mainstream media. And clearly the success of our campaign is explained by the tremendous work that everybody did, the amount of dedication everybody has shown, but also the change in political mood overall. That is inclusive of all these progressive bills that were passed. But there were also, there were other favorable aspects that we should recognize in our campaign. It is a very progressive district. There wasn't any Republican running. The House Speaker, Frank Chopp, it's ironic, while he is the most powerful legislator in the state, he's also, in a way, a vulnerable target from progressives, because he is the lord of the budget cuts, So all this massive anger about, over tuition hikes and the cuts to basic health and disability, all that has been channeled into this, into what you can see in the results of the ballot. But at the same time, we should recognize that even if these favorable aspects did not exist, it would still have been correct for us to run this campaign, because this was a year for the left to run. In fact, I will paraphrase a quote by Bill Clinton's former campaign manager, who famously at the beginning of this year said that something to the effect that it would be stupid if the left did not run candidates this year, because there is so much anger boiling over on the two-party system itself, and it's a complex thing. While people may have illusions in Obama and want to believe that the Democratic Party is still going to come through, what is very clear is that there is deep anger against corporate politics. There is deep anger against the corruption and the billions and the slimy corporate lobbyists that run around in all the state halls, controlling not only what bills get passed, but to begin with, what bills see the light of day. And this is what we recognize. There is so much anger against this completely rigged system. And as the video that you just saw showed, if how different the electoral terrain would have been had it not just been our campaign, but many other campaigns. How different the terrain would have been if in this rally, in this victory rally, it wasn't just one candidate, but 10 different candidates celebrating 10 different campaigns. That is what we are doing. And in that spirit, as you all probably already know, Socialist Alternative is calling on the other left forces in Seattle to join us in bringing together a slate of candidates to run in the Seattle City Council elections and also the mayoral race. Let's come together and present a serious challenge to the Democratic Party. Not a pressure group, but a serious left alternative that can show, give a taste of what a mass political party outside of the Democrats can look like. Let's see a taste of that, and let's see where people can take it. That's the kind of beginning where we want to do. And and as I said before, it would be an enormously squandered opportunity if we didn't take this victory and build on that immediately in 2013. Yes, we need a break. Yes, there's the holidays, and I encourage everyone to take a break. But but don't go anywhere after that. Come back, because there is so much work to do. I mean, we have to balance ourselves. On the one hand, we have to recognize that this is an enormous victory, not only for our local politics, but internationally, because how important it is for the American working class to rise up. But at the same time, we have to avoid the danger of being complacent. This is nothing. There is so much to do. Yes, we are having a victory rally here, but the billionaires still own the planet. They still own, they are still, they're still in control of every single system in this world. They are still in control in such a way that we are not able to bring about a real solution to the enormous crisis of climate change that is right at our doorstep today. And who is going to offer solutions to that? And we are saying that in order to actually have a real solution to climate change and the environmental crisis, we need for the global economy to be organized democratically by the working class, such that the economic activity is determined on the basis of what society needs, not to satisfy the never-ending greed of profits for the 1%. There's no more room on this planet to satisfy that greed, and we have to organize in order to do that. And let's make no mistake, next year there's going to be several struggles. Yes, Obama has won, but at the same time, as other people have pointed out, it's going to be different than 2009 January, because that honeymoon is going to be very short. The fiscal cliff is already upon us, and all our hopes are being dashed against it. Statewide, there will be budget cuts, and as many of you know, especially if you're from Bellingham, the coal terminal question still needs to be addressed. In Seattle, there are burning questions of police brutality, racial profiling. We need to get the, we need to reach out to all these people. And this, we have this campaign at a district level. Now we have to campaign citywide and go to all those districts, and end this silence on the deep racism and sexism that exists in our society, including in Seattle. There's a silence on racism in Seattle, and we have to end that silence. It's a deeply segregated society, and it's our job to reach out to women, people of color, elderly, disabled, youth, students, and show them that in order to actually change society, we have to come together in solidarity. And the last thing I will say is that, before another task that I'm going to present to you, which is that, on the left, there is a lot of confusion often about whether to build our socialist organization or to build the broader forces on the left. I hope that through the discussions today, through especially all the information on our international work, it has become clear, and hopefully it will become clear in the future, that it is enormously important to very clearly build the forces of socialism. Look at Greece. Look at how many general strikes they've had. By now, if you looked at the mood on the street, they should have actually taken the reins of power away from the bankers. But that hasn't happened, and that hasn't happened because the overall understanding is still at a level where it's against capitalism. But that's not enough. That's not good enough. We have to present an alternative. That is the strength that we bring as socialists. So for those of you who have those questions, I invite you not to just accept what we are saying at face value, but come and talk to us, debate us. Let's have those serious discussions. Because as Stefan said, yes, we need to distribute food, we need to make sure that happens, but we have to also understand, it's a cold-blooded reality. Just because we distribute food at Hurricane Sandy, it doesn't mean that hunger will be ended. No, right. Hunger will not only exist under capitalism, it will worsen. Poverty will worsen. Homelessness will worsen. So what we are doing here is not creating a talk shop. We are a body of action. And in that spirit, I invite you to join us, be a part of us, debate with us. And by now you probably know how much we like to talk, so that's not a problem. And for those of you who've been part of this campaign and been excited by it, I wanted to let you know that we've been getting emails from all over the country and all over the world, Facebook messages, where people, it was, at first it was stunning for us that, boy, it's just a 43rd district campaign. Why are you talking about it? But there is a reason. The reason they're talking about it is because an open socialist is on the map. Socialism is starting to be on the map, although it's still a dot yet. But we have to make that dot into a bigger, into a bigger circle. And how do we do that? We have to politically educate and organize ourselves, but at the same time, we're living in the real world. We cannot organize the forces of socialism on an empty stomach, which means, this is where I'm getting to the main point, we need help. And this is a very sincere and earnest appeal to you all to contribute, to help us organize Socialist Alternative and the CWI so that we can continue doing our work. We, as activists, we don't ask for anything else. We don't want anything else except the ability to actually carry out our work and for you to join us in doing our work. And what are we raising these funds for? Or what do we want to raise these funds for? First, this campaign itself was a huge undertaking. It represents the enormous self-sacrifice by a lot of people, not only in terms of the time that they gave, but in terms of the fact that most of us we are not paid like Obama's campaign manager is being paid. We are doing this because this is something that we want to do. But at the same time, we need sustenance. The organization needs sustenance. We have to we have to continue distributing our political material, having these rallies like this. All those posters and yard signs that you see around you. Every little thing costs money because nobody gives it to us for free. So we need help with that. We also, as you all know, had a shoestring budget. We had 1/10 of the budget that Frank Chopp had. But look how far we made it go. So you get your money's worth.